I was rounding out my first trimester and I started to have some spotting. And I, of course, freaked out. Like it happened in the morning. One morning I called right into work. I'm like, dude, I'm not coming. I'm going right to the doctor. I called my doctor. They're like, yep, let's get you in. We'll do an ultrasound. Because of course, like it's my first pregnancy. I'm geriatric. I'm considered high risk already. So I'm just, really kind of scared at this moment.
Here's the deal. We're two moms that we popped babies out in our 40s. And it's hard. It was hard.
It's also the best thing that's ever happened to either one of us, I think.
Yeah, but now we're moms in our 40s.
In our 40s.
With preschoolers. So let's talk about that.
Let's talk about it.
Let's bring the community together of women. And let's talk about like real shit. Real life, real women shit.
Yeah, real women shit. Let's do that.
Shit's hard. And also it's funny.
Cheers. Unfiltered.
Because if you want a show, we're a shit show. We're here for you.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Oh man, welcome. We're feeling pretty mature. We got the pre-Mexico slump going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you feel that at all?
I do. I feel like, first of all, it's gray and gloomy and freezing cold today.
It's Washington.
It's
the state
Washington.
The state of Washington or Oregon out.
Yeah, which is like so not Colorado anyways. So that stinks. So then I'm already like, I just want to stay in bed. And then it's like, man, I feel like I have so much shit to do.
So much.
And I haven't done anything but Caston's clothes because,
like
who even cares what he wears?
Yeah.
I don't even know why I packed
I wonder
so
what
much.
Caston's wearing on every day. Like that's the most important part of the trip.
Oh, I just thought about it. I didn't pack him any socks or regular shoes, but he doesn't need that, right?
Maybe socks, shoes, diaper.
I'll just make him wear it to the airport. That's a good idea.
Good idea. You're welcome. That was my idea.
Yeah, you're welcome. You just shot it in my brain. I felt
did.
it.
Sometimes
it was like, bam! Oh yeah, airport. Got it. Thanks.
You know what I decided that we're gonna have to start doing is acting like we are like sharing with our blind friend that we never met.
Oh, true.
Because of all of our people. Because I've noticed how many actions we do, and then they're just like, "What are those two doing?
I know.
What are they doing?" So just now, Megan made a motion with her head that was very comical.
Whiplash.
A whiplash motion.
Hi, look at my sockies. Oh, you got cute sockies too.
I noticed we do this. Maggie's got hearts with eyes. They're
Hearts with
looking
eyes.
at me, and I got a little cookie monster.
Cookie Monster.
That's so funny. So we have this is mom hack. This will probably be one of the most important things they ever learn on our show. Just to buy all of the same socks for your common socks. So our sneaker socks now are all white. Mine's and John's. We just share. Well, okay, if you have big feet like me, I have big hooves, so we get to do this. So we just have one drawer of all the same socks, and then in another drawer of all of our long, wacky socks, because they're not hard to pair.
No,
but
no,
and especially for your kids, if you can do that, they don't need to have a bunch of cute socks. They're going to run around in the field and ruin them anyways in 2 seconds.
Yeah. That's
Just
the truth.
Buy them all.
To be honest, half the time Caston socks don't even match.
No.
I don't even if they match, great. But if I can't find two that match, I just throw them on.
Can you imagine though the time that you would save if it just whatever you just had
you
all
didn't
the
even
same
have to match them up. You just grab two and they're always the same.
Always the matchies. And I'll do the long and short together, and that's really obnoxious for a kid. He's like, oh, my mom put me in one toddler sock and one size 6. One's black and one's pink. That's what my kids end up with.
I could never. That one I couldn't do. I have a physical sensory reaction.
Yeah.
If I have one shoe on and one shoe off, or one sock on and one.
Can you have one sleeve up and one sleeve down?
I don't think I could do that. I don't know. Johnny knows too, and so he likes to pull one sock off and then put me in a bear hug so I can't get it. And I'm like, it's driving me crazy.
I was listening to one of the episodes where she's like, when those boys do spit things to you, and then we never really explained. I was like, what the hell? Kind of sounds like that. But she was talking about where you hang over them and you start to spit and you suck it back up.
Suck it back up, yeah. Then before it gets you in the face.
Yeah, but we didn't really finish the thought. So I was just like, well, that was an interesting comment. So it sounds like Johnny is like a teenage boy sometimes to you.
Sí.
Sí. Tu esposo.
Tu esposo.
Let's do it today in Espanol to prepare for El Mexico. Not El Mexican language, Just this accent.
Spanglish.
Spanglish. Oh, hey.
Oh.
Hey, guys.
Hello.
Okay, so we want to talk today about little Miss Megs over here. I'm going to be the interviewer, and she's going to be the interviewed. Because we have shared a couple different stories with you guys. And if you listen to the Making a Baby episode, that's one of our most popular episodes. I think because we had our legs over our heads half the time.
Yeah.
We were really talking about getting up in there. But then it was also very sentimental.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, learning about Megan's journey. And it took her, you guys, 14 years to conceive this little miracle baby, Caston Cruz, who's downstairs.
I know.
And we got some of the parts, but then we didn't get to hear all of it because we had to like chop and cut some things. So we wanted to really dive into the true, like, okay, every person's a miracle. We've talked about that. But
Absolutely.
like just the uniqueness of all of the things that occurred for him in order to get here on this planet Earth.
Right.
From the heavens above.
Yes. Yes. It's definitely one of those things where you think he's supposed to be here and at this time, at this very moment, and this time, and like at my 41 year, finally, like, oh my gosh, yeah, crazy thing.
And I think as you guys are listening to this story, a lot of the encouragement is that we often want to be in control and have the time. Like, I mean, Megan she would have had the baby when she was 28 if she could have. Mm-hmm. And that's not what timing was. And just you allowing that grace for that entire 14-year time period and then getting to the other side. And like, you know, you always hindsight 50-50-50. 2020. I got a hind hog, a 2020, 50-50. You guys know which saying which one I'm talking about. But you look back and you're like, okay, now I understand why. Now it makes sense why.
Yeah.
So we're going to learn that about Megs.
Yes.
And I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay.
I want to start off with, I think, a little bit of the information that they may have missed about your conception, how you had the one side taken.
Yes.
And then dive into what happened when you found out where he actually came from.
Gotcha. Okay.
Boom.
So we did, after, 12 years of trying naturally, we finally did go to a specialist.
By sex, she means.
By sex. Mm-hmm. Where you put, yeah, you guys know. You've done it because you're listening, most of you. Anyways, so we finally went to a specialist, like an actual fertility specialist. And that's when we found out that I had severe endometriosis through a test that they did for me, which was like an ink dye test that they shoot up radioactive gunk it's just like some
Spider-Man glue into her vajayjay.
Into my vajayjay, right up into my uterus.
Yep.
And the purpose of that is so they actually bring like an x-ray machine in front of you. It's like a live x-ray. They're like watching it happen as it's x-raying you. So they shoot that up and they can watch where the dye goes. And that's the very first like actual test besides checking follicles and stuff that they did. And they found at that moment that I had both of my fallopian tubes were blocked from scar tissue from endometriosis. So we decided to go the route of getting a surgery. There's a surgery that they used to do often before IVF became really popular.
Okay.
So it was a very common surgery because this was like the only option really. But the doctor that I was with did not do that surgery any longer. So he said, let me refer you to the woman who does it. And she was fantastic.
Yeah.
Loved her, loved everything about it. It was a great experience. She was just amazing and so supportive in telling me what was going to happen and how it all happened. And even though I was there because I wanted to get pregnant, she helped us work it out with insurance that it was it turned out to be a medical thing because I had endometriosis.
Yeah.
So my insurance covered it and all this stuff. So, so the way it worked is that my right fallopian tube had been blocked for so many years. And it was just, there was so much scarring, so much endometriosis in there that it had stretched out and it was kind of just like flopping around in there.
Little floppy rabbit ears.
Well, yeah.
Flapping around.
He called it a stretched out tube sock.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wah, wah, wah. Your poor little fallopiners.
I know. Gosh dang. So that one had to go. She had to get.
They just yanked her out, yanked her little sock ears, just like grabbed that sock and just
They just whispered up there and were like, come here, little.
rubber banded it out,
Yep.
just shot it across the operating room.
Yep. Uh-huh.
Did you keep it?
Smack some guy in the eye.
Did you jar it?
Yeah, Caston plays with it now. Just kidding.
Who needs slinkies when you could have soft, saggy
fallopian tubes. Yummy.
We're starting toy companies. Yep.
My first fallopian tube. And then the other side was blocked, but it was blocked at the very entrance of it. She could see the scar tissue in there, and she said, "I'm going to try and get that out, like clean that out."
Yeah.
And then they cleaned out all the other scar tissue, like around my uterus and stuff. And I said, "Great." It was laparoscopy. It was so easy. It was outpatient. I went in for the day. They went in, put me to sleep. I came out. Yeah. I have 2 tiny little scars.
Yeah.
Like they literally just pulled it right on my belly button.
Does any part of you ever just be like, wow, I wish I would have had that surgery 10 years earlier?
So of course, like when you're in the midst of all of this, you do go back and be like, gosh, like what an easy thing. But again, it wasn't the time for me to do that. Like I needed to go through everything I went through. John needed to go through everything we went through to get to the place where we were both totally, utterly as prepared as we ever could be to have a kid, because you're never 100% prepared.
Right.
But we needed to be in that space to be ready to do it.
And I knew that was the answer because that seemed like a very insensitive question.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Right. Because they'd be like, well, yeah.
But it's not insensitive because you do, in the midst of the gunk, you're like, God, that's all I needed. Or, you kind of go back and forth between all kinds of things.
You could have chose to get hung up and complain about, well, I could have done this for this like long ago. And then that like kind of just ruins things a little bit, like ruins your attitude around the whole thing.
Totally. Because you can't go back. So why even hang up yourself on that hat? You know what I mean? It's like, no, it's happening now. It's the way it's supposed to be, and it's happening now. So great. So I went and had this surgery, outpatient. I healed up in like a couple days, and they sat me down and they were like, okay, we cleaned out everything we could. We took the right side fallopian tube out, and we were able to get the scar tissue out of the left side. And you probably have 3 to 6 months to get pregnant naturally.
Yeah. And this is where we went through the story with them all the way to the 2 years past.
To the 2 years past.
I think they're caught up to that point.
Yep.
But then not like,
not
what happened next.
So I got pregnant. I'm pregnant now. And I'm early on in my pregnancy. I've already been deemed geriatric. So that's fun.
Old AF, Megs.
Old AF PG pregnancy.
Yeah. Well, and I know that we did mention this in the last one, but just it took her longer than the 6 months. So they said 3 to 6 months, but it took you like
a year. It was almost a year to the day.
Yeah. So like she kind of already.
I'd given that. I let that ship sail.
Yeah.
And I was totally okay.
Yeah.
Which was so surprising for me because I was like, okay, cool. We did it.
Yep.
We did what we wanted to do. That felt comfortable for us. We felt like we weren't going to have any regrets necessarily. So I'm pregnant and I get my first ultrasound and there he is. We see him and it was so amazing. And of course we're crying and it's like, oh, just like the coolest thing ever.
A little peanut. The first little picture, like when you're like the first ultrasound, you guys. You're like,
I know.
It's
real.
They're beautiful.
They're beautiful. They're little, like big old forehead head and like the little appendages. Like, oh God, they're the cutest. And we got to bring John's mom to that appointment, which was so cool.
Yeah.
Because this is her only grandchild. So that was like so cool to have her with me. So it was cool because they let Johnny come in first and we got to do it. And then they let them switch. So she got to come in and sit with me and they typed her out, "Hi, Grandma," on one of the little things. So she got her own little ultrasound picture. Yeah. So it was real. It was happening and everything was feeling good. I normal first trimester stuff, you're kind of sick to your stomach and I don't know, whatever. But nothing out of the ordinary. And then I was rounding out my first trimester and I started to have some spotting. And I, of course, freaked out. Like it happened in the morning. one morning I called right into work. I'm like, dude, I'm not coming. I'm going right to the doctor. I called my doctor. They're like, yep, let's get you in. We'll do an ultrasound. Because of course, like it's my first pregnancy. It's my, I'm geriatric. I'm considered high risk already. So I'm just, really kind of scared at this moment. So I go,
Yeah, any woman, you're pregnant and you've got blood.
you're bleeding. Yeah.
That's just.
Yeah. And especially so early on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a little scary, but also like hopeful because I don't know what's going on. So I'm like, I call the doctor and they say, come on in. And so I went on in.
Yep.
So I go in and, the ultrasound tech comes in first. The doctor's never there to tell you the hard stuff.
No.
So the ultrasound tech comes in and she's like the sweetest lady. And I'm just have to say how grateful I am for that woman because she was my ultrasound tech a few times. And it just so happened, I was a little hung up on being like, I didn't know anyone who was as old as I was who was pregnant. And I was kind
You
of...
didn't know that it's over 50% of the population.
I didn't know
at the
it was
time.
over 50% of the
it's just you.
population, which I've met so many now. But at that time I was like, you just kind of have thoughts about all kinds of things. Like, I'm going to be so old. Like, what am I going to do? And I'm not going to have any friends. I'm going to, So it was awesome because her parents had her younger brother in their 40s. And so she had that connection with me and just really talked me through. She was like, my parents are like the coolest now. They have so many friends. She's like, they're cooler. They have more friends than I do. They do more than I do because they have this young son to like get them out to do those things.
How cool for her to provide you that
know.
insight just while she's sitting there ultrasounding you.
Yeah, right.
Probing you.
Probing me. So that was cool. Anyways, beyond that, I show up. They do a vaginal ultrasound because, I'm still so young and I'm bleeding.
Yeah.
So early on,
she's not young.
Not young.
The
I'm
baby's
young in my pregnancy.
Yep.
I'm also so young.
She's so old and so young.
So young, so old. And at that moment, she was kind of like feeling like I came in and it didn't feel like there was a problem. It didn't feel, there wasn't any heaviness in the air. And as she's prepping me, she's like, how far along are you? And I'm like, I think I'm coming up on 12 weeks. So it'd be like my first trimester. And she was like, okay, do you know what side you got pregnant from? And I'm like, my left, I guess. I don't know, but I don't have a fallopian tube on my right side. And she was like, oh, okay.
Because no other human would be able to, I wouldn't be like my left or my right, but you kind of, would know more than anything because you'd assume it'd be the left.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I was like, I'm pretty sure it's my left
question.
Side. And she was like, how would you ever know that you could do that? And she said, oh, well, we can check sometimes. And sometimes the doctor will tell you during an ultrasound because here's a cool fact that I never knew until I got pregnant. So, when you have an egg, you create this follicle and it happens every time you menstruate. You get a follicle on the ovary that drops the egg that you're doing that month or whatever. And I know the name of it. It's called corpus luteum. So it's a corpus luteum, and that follicle drops the egg, it sticks onto the ovary, and if the egg gets fertilized, that little follicle sticks around on the ovary and it releases progesterone into your system and helps to support the baby while you're making your placenta. And then the placenta takes over at around 12 weeks.
Oh, okay.
And it actually does that every time. It does omit progesterone for you until you start your period. So, and then it just kind of dissolves and goes away. So
every egg that you drop is just going to dissolve after it goes away.
Yep. Every egg.
Even if you don't have a fallopian tube and it's not traveling down, it doesn't have to get to your uterus in order to menstruate. It just drops and fizzles out eventually.
Yep. And then your body absorbs it is what happens every time.
Yeah.
And then, so this follicle kind of sticks around. So when you actually get pregnant, it holds on and sticks around, and they can see it on your ovary during an ultrasound. So sometimes they'll tell you if they can see it. Right. Okay. And so she tells me, I was like, well, I don't have a fallopian tube on my right side. So it's my left. And she was like, well, yeah, but let's just look because it's pretty unlikely that it was the right side, but it could be. So, I was like, okay, cool. So she gets up in there and she tells me, okay, I'm pretty sure that you dropped your egg from your right ovary. And I was like, what? And she's like, yeah, I'm seeing remnants of the follicle. And I'm like 99% sure the reason why you're spotting right now is because your follicle burst. Like it's over, your placenta's taking over. So when that bursts, sometimes you do get some spotting.
Yeah.
And it's just letting that go. And she's like, but I'm pretty sure I can see like the remnants of it because there's like a little mark on your ovary.
Yeah.
So I'm like, wait, what? The fuck?
The fuck?
So little Cass came down from my right ovary without a highway to get into my uterus, but he found his little way in space, went in there, floated around, and attached.
That's the craziest thing to me is like to like visualize is that for 14 years they're trying to figure things out. They finally figure things out. They do the surgery to have it, be a possibility. So now she's got one highway that's open. Now the highway's open and we're in business. And then after 6 months, we're still not pregnant. So then we kind of just let go of the idea and we decide that we're happy with life.
Yep.
And then Johnny's sperm has to swim around in circles. Remember how you were talking about some of his dizzy sperm?
Yep.
Maybe it's one of those dizzy ones.
Yeah, right.
Like he's
like helicoptered up there.
so it's just like, it's no man's land. And we have this sperm and this egg that have no way of freaking finding each other.
Right.
And they just catapult into one another.
I know.
What?
Because literally, like the chances of that happening are so low because you can actually you get your tubes tied or you can have your tubes removed for contraception.
Right.
Like it's pretty low that would ever happen.
Yeah.
And even to this day, I don't know. I don't know. I think my left fallopian tube could be blocked again.
Yeah.
Like, so we don't know if that had already happened.
Yeah.
In that, because it's been a year now. So it could have been blocked anyways. So that little guy was just swimming around.
God was like, okay, you guys passed. Way to go. And here's your baby.
Here's the little, I'm going to get him there in a really cool way too.
Yeah.
So here you go. Yeah.
That's so neat, Migs.
It was really an amazing thing. So not only, how cool, even though it was scary in a moment, in an instant, how cool for God to let that happen so that I could find out that that's where he came from.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I would have never known.
No.
Never.
And to be really aware and present to the miracle that your body is and the miracles that God creates is so special because a lot of people would be like, okay, whatever. Like, yeah. So it came from the other side. It's like, no, the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, that's just crazy shit. And for your heart to just open up to that, it's so cool.
It is so cool. And it just is, it just totally encompasses Caston.
Yeah.
Like, I'm coming. I'm going to do it my way. It's going to be
Spin in
crazy
circles to
awesome.
get ya.
Yep. It's going to be, woo! Callie's spinning so much. Her coffee's like
everywhere.
Helicoptering out of her cup. So it just was just even more special of a miracle to find out that way. And my pregnancy was just awesome. I was so blessed to feel so great being geriatric.
Wow.
And I ended up having gestational diabetes during my pregnancy, but I still didn't feel bad. I just it was something I had to manage.
Can you share more about that? Because it's like they test us all. We have to drink the orange juice.
Yep. You gotta
drink this orange trap. And you go in and you're like,
and they're like, you're fine. And then you go home.
Yeah. And your brain somehow like assumes that gestational diabetes is going to be for someone who might be predisposed to actual diabetes, like maybe a little heavier set. Right. Which is not you.
So, and actually what I found out about that gestational diabetes is it's more likely because of your placenta, which is actually made up from your husband's DNA and stuff. So
interesting.
It's actually, you're more likely to get
many things are connecting in my brain right now.
You're more likely to have certain things because of okay. So you think your husband just comes in, fertilizes you, and he's done. He's out, right?
He's out, yep.
Like that. Thanks. Wham, bam. Thank you, sir.
Go.
So
you did your part, now leave. Bye.
Yeah, bye. See ya in 9 months. So But they're finding out, because they're finally doing like more women's studies, which is amazing.
Yeah.
They're finding out that a lot of the things, your husband's sperm actually helps to do a lot of the genetic, interesting genetic parts of your pregnancy, including helping build this placenta, including sometimes if you have miscarriage, it could be a complication with something between, like, in your husband's genetic makeup of his sperm.
Because I always just think it's just your chromosomes, and you just that's the only thing. But
Yeah.
that's interesting.
Yeah, so I found that out. Also, gestational diabetes is basically you have like the sugars.
Yep.
It's the sugar diabetes or insulin diabetes, but it's almost always managed by diet because it's just while you're pregnant.
Yeah.
Which is kind of insane that our bodies can just do that. So, and the
wild.
the risks to that aren't necessarily to me. They're more to the fetus, the baby, which just are what I learned, that they can grow like really big.
Okay.
So they can get really, really big in utero, which is another reason they wanted to induce me, because they didn't want him to be, like a 10-pound baby trying to get out of me. And then it does predispose the child to possibly getting diabetes later in life.
Okay.
So you just have to watch that. And then also for me later in life, I just have to watch that I don't, I watch all that stuff. But if I just had my physical. And my doctor said my insides are as beautiful as my outsides.
What a great compliment. And he didn't.
Like,
did
I'll
he?
take that
He's
as a
like
compliment.
a flashlight down there. He's like, he's like, look at. He's like, no, those are great.
Nope, we did my blood work and everything looks fantastic.
Okay, that's right. It was a blood one. She wasn't at the OB. It's fine.
Nope, I wasn't. I was at my regular GP, and I had some blood work done, and everything looks great. So I just have to keep up on that,
Yeah.
But
how was that, like, changing your diet during pregnancy? Because we have these cravings that we just we feed.
It was rough.
Was it?
And I think diabetes and people who have it regularly, you could please tell me if this is true, but I feel like you do crave sugar. So I was craving sugar, which I've never really been a sugar person.
Yeah.
Like I'm usually like salt. Give me some chips and salsa and a margarita with salt on the rim.
As much salt as I can get in my body right now.
Yeah, right. So that was different for me, but I craved sugar. So my alternative was to get sugar-free candy.
Yeah.
Which was great that you have that option. And when I really needed it, I would have some sugar-free candy.
Yeah.
Russell Stover's, my geriatric candy for my geriatric pregnancy.
Pregnancy. It's interesting as you say that. So we talked about Witten's diabetes insipidus, which is water diabetes, which affects the sodium, and sugar diabetes, which is affecting your insulin and your sugar, right? Part of it. And so the craving of the sugar is making sense to me, because you've seen Witten eat salt packet after salt packet.
Yeah.
He's like, that's not good enough. I'm not going to eat that nugget. Just give me the packet of salt. So that's intriguing.
So and I just had to watch my diet. I had to take, poke my little finger and take my blood sugar every couple hours, or before and after I'd eat. And
every day during your whole...
Yeah, every day.
So like, it's like having... diabetes.
Yeah. You do.
Cal, welcome to the conversation. I mean, I don't know. I've never known anybody who's had it, who's explained the process to me. So I didn't really know. So that's a pretty big life swing and change. Like, you were diabetic for 8 months, basically, and you had that full experience. Wow.
Yeah.
Did you ever have like lows or anything that you had to
No, it really ended up being really pretty manageable.
Yeah. Because you took care of your diet. You actually listened to your doctor.
I would try. And I mean, you are pregnant, and there are times where I'm like, I'm just going to eat this ice cream. I don't even care. And then my blood sugar would spike. But it didn't really, I don't remember it affecting me in any way necessarily. Besides just having cravings, I don't remember being, maybe when my blood sugar got low, I would maybe get a little hangry.
Yeah.
But I think that's
Johnny
normal for everybody.
Out, that was
right.
Still normal.
My little bobcat came out.
Yeah.
Like, give us some bean burritos.
And then Johnny would go get her bean burritos.
He would.
She couldn't have the sugar.
Yep. So, I had craved bean burritos from
I still do.
Oh, I do too. And guess what? Cass loves beans.
Yeah.
Refried beans. Those are like beans and rice. That's all he wants.
One of his favorite foods. He's gonna love Mexico.
I know. He does love Mexico.
Mexico.
I'm going to Mexico. Yeah. So I had that and got through that too. And really it was very manageable. Once you get everything you need, you just poke your finger and put a little thing on it. And then you put it in this thing and it'll tell you what your sugars. And then I had to keep track for my doctor.
Yeah.
So, and Caston ended up coming out when he came out. He was so healthy, perfect size. He was 6 pounds, 13 ounces. He wasn't he was like normal size baby.
Tell us about his delivery. Then.
Okay, let's hear about that.
I want to know. We love delivery stories. Doesn't every mom love to share her war story and to hear them because they're all so
I do. I love hearing them too. I really do.
If you're in our group, because there's like that group's blowing up right now. If you guys,
I'm so excited about that.
We just pop into Facebook.
The squad.
Yeah, we did change it from village to squad because we feel more like a squad. And Megan's working on some cool shit. Like she's like some gear that she's making with the squad.
It's gonna be awesome.
So you guys, like, we would love to, after you listen to this episode, we'd love to hear your delivery stories in there. So, and if you want to do a video or just write about it or whatever, just get it out, share with us. Share with us about it.
Yeah, for sure. So a couple things.
Mm-hmm.
I was geriatric.
Wait, you were geriatric? Were you mature?
Newsflash.
I'm old.
I was old then. I've regressed since. So
I'm so sorry. I've never used the word geriatric more in my life, and now it's just like I'm like, how long has that coffee been out? Is it geriatric?
Yeah, is that,
like, I don't know if I want to eat it.
Has it been out for over 35 minutes? Then it's been then it's geriatric. Yeah.
It's the truth.
Oh man, yeah.
Okay,
but it's so fun. I mean, like, I really love the word.
I know.
for this instance.
Yes,
because we've talked about it. They have changed it to advanced maternal age. Boring.
Yeah,
I don't like that.
Is that coffee advanced maternal age? That doesn't even make sense anymore.
I mean, that almost sounds worse to me.
Does.
Like, just say I'm geriatric because it's funny.
Yeah.
Like,
coming in,
bringing my walker.
We're not
can you check my baby?
Just lean back on your walker, stick both legs on up.
It has its own stirrups.
You sit, plop. Like most of them have a little case where you can put your stuff. Yeah, you just sit on it. Legs go out, just like extension. You could get checked anywhere.
Brought my own lube today. Here you go.
I don't know if I was going to be able to drive all the way here because my vision's so bad. So I want to make sure you could just come to meet me at the park.
My vision's not 50-50 anymore.
No, it's not. That's why you had to meet me here at the playground with the other kids.
Yeah, with the other kids.
Yep. Everybody look away. Yeah. Here's my apron.
Let's go in the porta potty.
Tangent.
Sanitary.
Tangent much?
Yeah.
Anywho, she was geriatric. If you guys didn't know.
Geriatric. I was geriatric.
Clear that up.
Just so everyone knows now. And I had gestational diabetes. So those two things were like, we want, you have to be induced. And I'm like, no, I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want to. My due date was February 6th was when Caston was actually due.
Okay.
And as we're coming up on in mid-January, I'm seeing the doctor every time, like the OB every time.
They were making you go like
once a week, I think, at this point.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's like, they start tapering it up real quick. It's like once a month, and then it's like once every 2 weeks, and now it's like, come every day.
Yeah. I'll meet you at the park in the porta potty every day.
So yeah, I'm going quite often, once a week at this point, and they every time. And so the group that I go to, you don't see one OB, you see who's ever working that day.
Oh, fun.
I know, and this
who
one
needs to
lady,
build a relationship with somebody who's going to pop a baby out of you?
I know,
It's fine though. That's fine.
So, the lady that I'm seeing this day, my first time meeting her, and she was a peach.
Real peach.
She
sounds great.
Yeah, she's like, we're inducing you. And I was like, but I really don't want to be induced.
No.
And she was like, that's basically, without saying it, she's like, that's not your choice. Like, we're doing it. So she was like, she made me schedule before I left the room. She made me schedule. And
did you feel you were being manhandled a little bit?
Yeah, I did. And so I lied, and I was like, I can't do it that weekend because my husband's not in town.
Way to lie. I'm proud of you.
Because
Way to,
I was like,
think on
how
your
am I going to
feet.
get this lady to not let me? And also just because she wanted me to do it like the end of January. And just also for reference, my sister-in-law's birthday is January 31st. And she was like, don't have him on my birthday. And I was like, okay, no problem. Like, I don't really want to either.
Yeah.
Like, let's like not do that. And that's like when she was like, you need to come in that Friday or whatever. And then we're going to do it overnight. And then you have him the next day. And it was going to be her birthday. So I was like, my husband's out of town.
Yeah. I don't want to be disowned from the family either.
Yeah. No. Right. Yeah. No kidding.
Yeah. Good job. Wait, I'm proud of you.
I know, but still it was like, so she was like, fine, then Monday. And I'm like, oh, okay. Okay.
Sounds great.
Yeah. So
that's what you chose.
I scheduled
Yeah.
it, and I really didn't feel like I had a choice at that point.
Yeah.
And it's my first time, and I was in the appointment by myself, which, I'm definitely the person, if you want to sell something, get me alone. Get me alone in a room and I'll buy it. If Johnny was there.
There's so many people right now, they're writing down like, okay,
Yeah.
sales call, May, like, let's just get her.
Yeah.
Johnny would have been like, no.
I was the person who would buy late night TV ads. Like, I bought all kinds of, because I'm up at night, I'm in my 20s, I got my own credit card. Like, I ain't got nothing to do but buy nads. Do you guys remember nads?
No. I mean, I know what a nad is.
Well, no, you don't. This was cold wax. And I think her name was Natalie, or her daughter's name, and she named it Nads. I bought the entire set.
What are you going to do with cold wax?
You wax your legs and your arm, like at-home waxing kit before I had my license.
Yeah.
But it's like cold. I don't know. But she got me good, and I bought the whole thing. I probably used it once, and I was like, this is some bullshit. It hurts so bad. I'm not doing this anymore.
Thanks, Nat.
So I had like a whole system of it that just sat.
Did you go door to door and try to resell it? Would you like some of this finest project nads?
I only used one time.
I did buy when I was getting gas one time. This guy comes over and he starts washing my windows.
Yeah.
But like they were really clean.
Yeah.
They were really clean. And then he's like, oh, and watch this. And he started washing my car. And my car was dirty and it was white and pearly and awesome. And all of a sudden it was just gorgeous. And he's like, you could buy one for 20 or this whole box for 120. I'm like, I need the box. I'll wash my car for the next 70,000 years. With it, that was like literally a decade ago. We're still using it.
You still got it?
Still got it.
Is it still making your car as clean as heck?
Well, no, because now I don't have that white pearly car. I got that big ass.
You got the big ass black.
There's no way I'm gonna be out there clean waxing that thing.
Oh my God.
The Challenger was tiny. Thank you. So I get it.
Oh yeah,
I get it.
Yeah.
You got So you got strong armed a little bit.
Yeah, I got strong. She was a very strong personality, and I was also vulnerable, feeling like, well, if the doctor's telling me that I have to do this, then I'm going to do it. And also if Johnny was here, we wouldn't be doing it because if I told him that's not what I wanted, he would have. And he's so great about it, and he doesn't make you feel yucky. He's not mean. He just is like, no.
He's a salesman.
Yeah, he could sell eyes
love.
to an Eskimo, dude.
Yeah, yeah. I thought you said eyes. I'm like, yeah, because Eskimos need eyes because they eat 50-50. 50-50 vision. What?
They need 50-50 vision to see the polar bears coming.
That sucks. And it's such a great introduction for some future conversations about advocacy because when you're speaking with somebody who's quote unquote higher up than you in whatever this chain is, you kind of feel
professional.
You feel like you just have to say okay, even though your intuition maybe was feeling something different. So
so this, hard. I mean, it was my first pregnancy, and there's things that you learn after that first one.
Yep.
And like I had a whole birth plan. I had written it out.
Aww.
It wasn't, an induction wasn't on it.
Nope. That it didn't start with, you'll go get strong armed by the nurse and then get induced.
And be induced. Yeah. I wanted to have a natural birth. Like I had all these plans. And then, they just got bulldozed, which also, I was 41. So even though I had a whole birth plan, I do want to say that I had some, I had reality also in mind, like, it's going to be okay if it doesn't go this way, but this is the way I want it to go.
Yeah.
This is my plan, and that's what I'm going to share when I get to the hospital.
Yeah.
Nope.
No. She's currently flipping off the camera.
They were like, nope, that's not what we're doing.
Nope.
Scratch that.
Yep.
Here's your birth plan.
Crumple that up. Let's burn it. Does anybody have a candle?
Right.
We're going to burn the shit out of this birth plan. It's awful. It's awful. She's not doing that.
Yep.
What, did you want music in the background? No, thank you. No, not
the doctor's
going
to talk the whole time. No, but yeah. So anyways, scheduled my induction. It was good. We went to dinner before, had to show up a Friday or a Monday night, I think it was.
Okay. They had a little pre-baby date.
Yeah, we had a pre-baby
Pre-delivery
date,
date.
last little date before I went in.
Yeah.
So the way that my induction went was showed up at 9 p.m. on that night.
Perfect.
They get you set up, like, here, put this gown on. Here's your bed. Here's where you're going to sleep. And here's a pill. And I swallowed a pill to start. And I go to sleep eventually, like 11 or whatever. You know, you're so hyped up. You're like, oh my God, it's happening. It's coming, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was probably midnight. I don't know. I finally fall asleep maybe around midnight. And about 2 a.m., they wake me up and give me another pill. And
I just got to sleep,
I
you
know.
mother cuckers.
Yeah, right. But get used to it, basically, is what they're doing. Get used to it. So they give me a pill. Give me another pill, and that's 2 a.m. And probably about 4 a.m. I'm having severe contractions. Mm-hmm. So I am up.
It's working.
It's working. So I'm like, Johnny, get up. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, it is bad.
How close are they together?
They are at this point happening every 5 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Maybe.
Okay.
And it's like, and so from about 4 to 6 a.m., I'm having really severe contractions every 5
minutes.
I'd say between 10 to 5 minutes. It probably was like 10 minutes, and then it started getting closer and closer. And at 6 a.m., the nurse finally walks in. They don't come in until between 4 and 6.
Okay, so you're just in pain on your own, waiting for. Were you going to have an epidural at this point? Was that a thought, or
So the birth plan was not to have an epidural.
Right.
I really wanted to.
But that fucker got burned up.
It got burned.
Yeah.
The roof came off that.
Yeah.
So at 6 a.m., I'm reeling over the side of the bed, holding on. Can't talk because I'm in so much pain. And the nurse comes in. She goes, well, it looks like you're ready for some pain medication.
Thank you for revisiting. Did you sleep good last night? I'm so glad you could come back to the room.
Yeah. So I waited till the contraction was over, and I was like, yes, I'm ready. She's like, do you want an epidural? I'm like, yes, I'm ready. Because she was like, if we don't do it now, like, you got to have
that
it.
4 minute mark. Yeah. And then you're screwed after that, pretty much.
Yeah. So they were like, okay, we'll get the anesthesiologist in here and get you going.
Yeah.
They put also, this is still COVID-ish time.
Yeah.
So the COVID thing that was going on here in Denver, I don't know if it was the same everywhere, but you could only have one person in the room with you. So my husband was there, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if that is obvious, but my husband was with me. And then all the nurses besides the charge nurse were traveling nurses, pretty much.
Wow.
So nobody really worked there. They were all traveling because of COVID. Like the hospitals were understaffed. That's what they were all doing.
I'm picturing like walking in, like, hey, where are where's and how do I, and what?
Pretty much.
Right?
Like they were like, I just am here.
Yeah.
I'm just a body in the room. As a nurse, I know what I'm doing, but I don't. Yeah. So
we might as well be at the porta potty in the
might
park.
as well. So they give me an IV in my hand, and that they have to get that going first, and then the anesthesiologist comes in, and I'm contracting and feeling it, and they're like, I'm like bent over, and right before he's about to put the needle in my spine, the charge nurse looks at my hand, and she's like, oh, wait a minute, they didn't put my IV in my vein, so my hand was blowing up with fluid.
The drug. So they were actually were they doing just a saline drip?
Saline drip.
Yeah. So
So because that's where they're going to insert from now on all the medication.
But hopefully not, because that's not going into her body.
Yep. So thank goodness she noticed that. So they switched that out. I think it was actually on this hand. I have a little scar there. And then so they gave me epidural. So I had an epidural, and once that happened, that's it. I just had my epidural, and hours and hours. This is 6 a.m.
Yeah.
Hours and hours are passing. Of course, they keep coming in. It is also a training hospital. So I have my OB who's there. The Not that one.
One that she met.
But one that I
one
met one
once.
other time.
Yeah.
But she was very nice.
Yeah.
But then I also have a doctor.
Okay.
So a young gentleman.
Oh, you weren't kidding when we did that first one about, hey, kids, come on in and see how
Everybody
this is
come
done.
on in. So she's
thought you
training him. So, but they had to ask. So
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
what do you, go ahead. Like,
Yep.
you know, as long as you're with him. So he's actually doing everything, but she's with him. And so they're checking me. Yeah. Looking at.
Like, if it was my third baby and I already pushed multiple out, but like, this is my first kid and you're going to have this kid come in and like touch my kid.
Yeah.
Like, could you
do all the things.
I don't know.
You know, it's not going well so far.
Right. Yeah, we're already blowing up through the hand.
Already blowing up my hand.
Yeah.
And
okay.
Yeah. And then, so he's coming in, he's checking me, seeing how dilated I am. My water's not breaking. And I'm kind of stopped.
Have they put something in there to break it yet?
So they come in and ask me finally.
Okay.
So he's like, your water's not breaking. Would you like us? So this was the thing. It was, probably like 6 p.m. now.
Okay.
So 12 hours. Mm-hmm. And he was like, your water hasn't broken yet. We can break your water and get things going. Or you can wait. We can continue to wait and just see.
Yeah.
And so Caston's birthday, it was February. We're now February 1st.
February is the second month of the year.
Two.
And
it's in year of 2022, and we're there on the 1st. This is the February 1st that we're there having all this done. So Johnny was kind of like, let's have him on the 2nd. So it'd be 2/22.
Honey, you don't mind being in labor for another 6 hours, do you?
And I was like, oh yeah, that's kind of cool. That
Me
would
too.
be
That's
cool.
what I
You
would
know
say
what I
too.
mean?
Yeah.
So I was like holding out, but by 6 p.m. I'm like, nope, break my water. I'm not waiting another 24 hours or 12 hours or whatever we have. Like, I'm ready. Like, come on, let's get the show on the road.
Yeah.
So he goes in
Makes sense.
and breaks my water. Of course, he's learning. So takes him a couple
shots. Just going to scoop around.
He's like
scooping around in there. I think I feel a head just trying to find the sack.
Yeah. So anyways, they break my water and it's still nothing.
Yeah.
And then your water is broken. So it's like, okay, we got to start pushing eventually. So I think about an hour later they was like, okay, we're going to try and start pushing. So I'm laying on my back and the doctors at this place, I don't know if this is normal actually. Yeah. You guys tell me, you tell me too, because I don't know if this is normal.
Yeah.
The nurse is in there with me and she's helping me push until the baby crowns. So it's me and the nurse and Johnny. And I'm laying on my back, the nurse on this leg, Johnny on this leg, and they're like telling me when to push because I don't know because I have an epidural.
Right.
So they're like looking at the monitor and they're like, okay, push. And then I'm like doing my thing. And I can't even really feel myself pushing. Like I can't feel the sensation of the push, but I'm just willing my body to do what they're telling me to do.
I'm just grunting, and I'm like hoping something happens.
Bent over and I hope I'm pushing. And so he's coming down the birth canal and then he's like getting stuck and going back every time I stop pushing.
Yeah.
And
you can't push for 10 minutes straight. That's not the way.
No. So it's like you push. Okay, break.
Yeah.
Push. So it's like
2 steps forward, 5 steps back.
Yeah. So
sucks.
So after 3 hours of this pushing, thank goodness Cass is he's healthy and feeling fine and he's not stressed.
Right.
The doctor does come in and she sits next to me and she's like, okay, if you can't get him out, if he can't, I think she literally did say, if you can't push him out in 30 minutes, we're going to have to do a C-section.
Yeah.
And I had just witnessed my younger sister, go through a C-section. Her son is 10 months older than Caston. And she literally almost lost her life during a C-section, after the C-section. And I was like, absolutely not. That I'm not doing that. Like at this point, this is when the mama bear started. Like this is where you're like, I am not, nope.
Oh.
So she said, okay, I'll give you 30 more minutes. And then it has to happen. And I said, okay. She left the room. The nurse started pulling my leg back.
There's fucking baby out.
I said, I'm not pushing on my back anymore. It's not working.
Yeah.
And I said, I want to try something different. And she said, I don't really know any other positions. I said, well, go find somebody who does. I was like, please go find someone who does.
Have you ever delivered a baby? Yeah.
So she said, okay. And she left the room. She got the new charge nurse. So basically the only lady who's,
Ever
a
worked.
constant there. Yeah. Who knows the most, who's probably been around the most anyways. So she got her, and another nurse came in, and they were like, hello, we're here to and I was like, great. I don't want to be on my back anymore. And they were like, okay, let's figure out something else. So but I have an epidural, so I can't stand up. I can't squat in my bed because I can't support myself.
Right.
So they turned me on my side. So now I'm on my side, but oh my goodness, I could be so much more in control of my own body pushing. I had my own knee up. I'm on my side.
Oh, wow.
And she's in there, and I hear her talking to the other nurse, and she's like, I can see that he's hung up on her. What's coccyx? What's that thing?
Your tailbone.
Your tailbone.
Yeah.
So she goes, I don't think the doctor likes when I do this. I go, I don't care. Do it.
Get your hand up in my butt.
She pushed it out of the way. She literally went in and inside my vagina and went,
pushed your tailbone back.
Yeah, pushed it back. And she said, okay, push. Minutes.
He just slipped out, didn't he?
Minutes. She was like, she pushed it back. I pushed. She's like, he's crowning. Get the doctor. So the doctors come back in, turn me back on my freaking back.
You effers.
I know.
I was sensing myself.
He was
there.
right there. Turned me on my back. Took me 30 minutes then to push him out because I was on my back. But they wouldn't let me turn on my side. I don't know. But he was crowning. And of course they're like, there he is. You want to feel him? So I'm like touching his head. I'm like, no, I just come on.
I want to hold his whole body.
Yeah. So, but in 30 minutes, then I pushed him out. So that's all it took. So let me tell you, let me be the encouragement to you to know and trust your body and say, this is not working for me. And I knew it wasn't, but it took me 3 hours to finally, it took me facing something that I really, really was not going to do to finally stand up for myself and say, I don't want to do it like this anymore. This isn't working for me. And when I did, it literally, she went bink. He came out. 30 minutes later, he's in my arms. Oh, I'm holding him. I know.
Do you guys just cry every time you think about a fresh, juicy baby laying on your chest?
Oh my God.
It's the best. Oh my gosh.
That.
That's a huge lesson for everybody, Megan, in trusting yourselves and then realizing that motherhood turns you into this wild warrior mom. Like all of a sudden the things that you thought you couldn't do before are this. In this moment, in that moment, you went from the one being that's like, no, this is how I'm showing up right now. And I guarantee you all of Caston's life thus far and forevermore, when you have something you're advocating for, you're going to show up completely as that mama bear, which is wild.
I know.
And so beautiful.
It is. And I feel like that's a very commonality for women becoming a mom. It's almost like this rite of passage where you're not a mom and now you're a mom.
Yeah.
And you're just a momming.
And you're just, yeah.
And nothing is more important than this little human or all my little humans, however many you have. This is it.
Oh man, that's so gorgeous, you guys. We just really wanted to I go through a couple different things there just to highlight from the advocating to the recognition of the miracles that are around you and recognizing that. So it wasn't perfect. It wasn't what you would redo, but you learned a lot from it. And now you get to teach from it. So for you guys, maybe there's something you would have done different or a way you would have stood differently for your experience. And just sharing that with other ladies in the group would be really cool.
It would be cool. Yeah. And just supporting each other and saying, it's okay to, first of all, have things not go exactly the way you maybe planned it to go, but also that it's also okay. And I think really what is a really cool thing that now I know, it's almost like I have a whole squad, a whole army of mom women behind me that when I do, if I'm having something, say there's something that the pediatrician is asking me to do or wanting me to do, and I'm not ready for that or I don't feel comfortable doing it, I feel like I have this whole army behind me to stand up and very kindly and graciously say, no, thank you.
So when you say that, because I love the visual, are you thinking like talking about your community or the army of yourself? Just you, right?
It's just all of us.
Yeah.
It's every mom. It's every mother.
Yeah.
From generations back to every mom on the planet right
The way
now.
that
It's
you
like I
just take
feel
that
this
stand.
like this energy of them all saying,
Yeah.
"You got this, girl. Like, tell her. You tell
get
her."
this.
Yeah, and just say, "No, thank you." And then usually they're like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, she just stood up to me.
yeah, and it's not, and I don't feel timid. It's very strong, and it's very, like, because like I said, it's like I feel this army behind me. Yeah, a new strength of everyone.
And if you guys don't feel that, we want to get you back there for sure. Megan, thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thanks for letting me share my story because I
Yes.
love it.
Yes.
And it is so fun to just hear everyone's and just remember mine too, you know?
Yeah, and remember how we can make adjustments in all the different things we do as we move through. So another fun day of getting to get to know the business down to our biz snatch. You guys are like, wow, they practice these things sometimes, and absolutely not. We don't.
No, I
Nope.
think we share a brain cell.
The one she shared.
We share it. That's why I can't think of things sometimes. And then Callie's like, this is the word.
No, I use it, and I make up a word, so that's fine. Well, thank you, Maggie Poo. You guys, we love you all so much.
So much. We love your guts.
And we'll see you next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday.
Bye. Thanks for joining, and don't forget to subscribe and, of course, share with your friends. Guys, that's how you impact more lives. All right, see you next time. Record. We're setting records, trying to lean back.
Yeah, I just want to see what it was like.
Just a little.
What? Oh! Maybe I won't. Maybe did I break it? Did I break it? I don't know. Oh, shit. Oh, well.
Let's see how comfortable.